Hey Stampers, it is Maker Mornings with Meg, but in the afternoon. So glad you guys could jump in with our slightly rescheduled version for today. So today I was a substitute teacher in the library at an elementary school. So I was teaching about using atlases and all kinds of good things, online catalogs and so forth. So anyway, I wanted to share today's project with you just a little later than usual. And we are using the Nature's Harvest stamp set, which is one of my favorites. It's what I featured this month for the September LovenStamps card tutorials. And those card tutorials are available as a downloadable PDF for free as my gift if you place an order with me this month, or you can get them in my Etsy store, link in the video description. But I'm going to walk you through the project for today's card. And today's card is a makeover of a triple panel fold card that I did with Blackberry Beauty paper a couple weeks ago. And I love the way it turned out. It turned out to be a really popular card post. And so I wanted to make a Harvest Meadow version of it because this paper is absolutely beautiful for fall. Here is in my scraps in the scrap bin. Beautiful for fall and a really great thing to pull out at this time of year then. And plus it is all available as one big sweet collection. Links are in the video description for supplies too. So are you guys ready to get stamping? If you have a larger order with me this month, an order that is, sorry, our camera is like syncing here. If you have an order that is $50 or more in my online store in September, you're going to get 2 card kits for LovenStamps card kits to go. And today's card is one of them. So, all right, Tanya says she set her timer for today. So good job. Hi, Carol and Deborah and Paula and Tanya and Tara and Sue. Glad you guys could tune in this afternoon. So, all right, I'm going to flip our camera down and we're going to get started. Sue says she loves this stamp set. Sue, I think you have excellent taste. What can I say, right? Okay, so getting ourselves oriented here. I have a whole mess of pieces, and these are pieces that come in your kit, and I'm going to show you a little bit how they go together. So I have die cut stitched rectangles. These are from the Stitch So Sweetly dies, and I use those 2 sizes there. And then I have a die cut piece from the Harvest dies, which are actually called something, let's see, they're actually called Harvest dies. Oh, I guessed well. Anyway, so there are all kinds of fabulous dies in here, but we're going to use just this little one today as a little feature on our project. So, all right, let's get together here our pieces. I'm actually going to start and I'm going to get this piece here ready to go. So if you are die cutting this for yourself, you're going to go ahead and line this up, stamp in Early Espresso and cut that out, which through the magic of television I have here. And then we're going to do some coloring on that with our Stampin' Blends markers, which I talked about extensively yesterday. So if you ever feel like you need Stampin' Blends tutorials, you're going to want to check out episode 194 with our sunflower card. All right, so a piece of designer series paper. Now the last time I showed this card, and I'll show you last time's card, it looks like this, and then it has this cool triple fold in it. I used a larger piece of designer series paper. Now, if you want to make multiples of a card, sometimes it's nice to have a piece that's a little bit more economical. So this piece is quite a bit smaller, and I'm going to give you cutting directions for this one today. And so you're going to cut your paper to 4 inches by 9 inches, and then you're going to score. And I'm going to bring out my Simply Scored tool because it is really my go-to, especially when I have a lot of scoring to do, or like I said, I'm making multiples of something. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this out on here for you. It's upside down for you. But the Simply Scored board has these great little markers in it that you can pop on so that you don't have to like measure every time. You just look for the marker and go from there. So I'm going to set my paper here and I'm going to score this 4 by 9 paper. I'm going to score it at 3 inches, at 5.5 inches, and at 8 inches. Okay, so you can check those out. And then I'm gonna take this and I am going to do kind of a Z fold. So I'm gonna use this green for the inside of our paper. So I'm just gonna fold on this score line, and then I'm gonna fold back on this score line, and then I'm gonna fold this last one here at the end. So now we have our folded layered piece that's gonna go onto our card here for our panel, right? So this is gonna be our triple fold. It's gonna come through like this. All right, now I'm gonna mount this on a piece of crumb cake cardstock. And so this one is cut to 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And again, if you want these cutting directions in an easy to download and print and have on hands format, you can get the PDF for free with an order this month, or through my online store, or you can get it on my Etsy store. So, all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and glue this down, but I'm gonna put our ribbon in here. Now, you're gonna want 16 inches of this fabulous diamond weave ribbon or some other, and you're gonna kind of fold it in half, so you're splitting the difference here. Hey, Debbie, hey, Angela. You're going to fold it in half and kind of line it up so it's there at the edge, all right? Now, you're going to go ahead and glue this on, but you don't really want to glue the ribbon down, okay? So I'll show you how I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put my adhesive here at the bottom, and I'm using my strong adhesive, and here at the top, okay? And then I am going to sandwich that in here, but obviously you saw that no adhesive is gonna touch that ribbon. So that way it has this sort of ability to move freely, okay? So then we can tie our bow where we want it and not have to worry about it. All right, so now let's get some layering on here. So this is actually kind of tiny for a card. So we want to make it a little bit larger. So I'm gonna go ahead and layer here onto a piece of mint macaron cardstock, which is the perfect match for this. Oh, it's not mint, sorry, it's soft succulent, which is a perfect match for this designer series paper. And this is really pretty, but I think we could do better. I'm gonna add one more layer here of bumblebee, and look at how all of a sudden those yellows in the paper really jump out, right? So before we saw the green, I'll show you this. We saw the green, and the green was really strong, but check out what happens when you add this bumblebee layer, and now all of a sudden those bumblebee accents pop out. Really cool, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and seal plus this. Remember to roll your wrist around so that you get the adhesive forwarded. And I'm gonna pop this on here, and it's a really fine line. And then I'm gonna go ahead and pop this on our card base. So the card opens with our panel fold, so the whole card part doesn't actually have to open. I'm gonna get that little adhesive out of the way. There we go. All right, so we just need a card base, so it's just 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. Okay, now we need to decorate here. Sue says pretty with a bumblebee. I totally agree. Just extra, accents on those colors. So let's bring our bumblebee back in again, because we want a panel for the front of our card. So this is gonna go here. And you can see that this one is cut to layer here with the front of our card. And this time, instead of using my Seal Plus, I'm gonna go ahead and stick this down with some Stampin' Dimensionals, because I wanna be strategic. You wanna make sure that your Stampin' Dimensionals touch only the part that's gonna attach to this front flap here, okay? You don't want to seal your card shut. You don't want any dimensionals out here. So instead of putting them on here, I'm gonna actually just go ahead and put them here. And again, I'm gonna leave an open space in the middle because I want to fold my ribbon back across there and go ahead and layer this. And so now I'm gonna center this here on the front of our card like so. And now we have this panel that opens, and our string, our ribbon, pulls through as needed to finish off that tie point, okay? So that you can open your card. All right, so now how to layer on here. On the card that I did a while ago, we stamped and used these big flowers here. But there's another flower inside this stamp set that is also really pretty, and it's these little smaller ones here. So I decided to use those for today's card, and so they are stamped in the ones we die cut. And then I'm gonna go ahead and grab some color, and this is a really small image. So honestly, you can get away without doing the crazy, most thorough coloring job ever because the pieces are really little. So they're not gonna show too much anyway if you do a lot of blending. So feel free to slack a little bit, I guess, on that. I am gonna leave a space in the center for my yellow so that I can use that and bring out that bumblebee one more time. So, cause I have my, wait, do bumblebee blends? What color do I have? So saffron, it looks like what I have here. Oh, I thought I had Daffodil Delight. Yeah, I think I have one of each. So I meant to have Daffodil Delight. So I'm just gonna bring in just a little yellow there in the center of those flowers, and then soft succulent here to run up these stems. And you can see that this is kind of a quick and dirty coloring job, so you don't have to be too deliberate about it. So perfect for a Wednesday afternoon, right? Okay, so I'm gonna color these. Oh, I missed one little flower. Sometimes, are you guys ever like this when you're coloring an image, you suddenly realize that some little piece that you thought was a flower was a leaf and vice versa? So sometimes the coloring really brings it out. Okay, so we have our pieces there. Now I could go ahead and mount this like so, but I feel like it needs a little background. So the cork paper here, hey Gian, the cork paper here is going to be a great background for this. And check out how it really makes that very vanilla flower spray stand out. So I love that. So let's go ahead and add our pretty cork paper. This paper is terrific. It's really not sturdy enough on its own to be the front panel of this card. So that's why I added that cardstock layer underneath. All right, so we have our flower. Now, I also want to put a greeting across the front here. So I have a strip of crumb cake cardstock, and there is a greeting in here that says, sending healing thoughts, may nature's beauty bring peace to your soul. So that's great, but it's a little bit too long, too wide, with that extra message on there. So we're gonna use this, but I'm gonna show you a tip for using a smaller part of the image. Sometimes if you don't have the whole, you don't want the whole greeting on there or the whole image, we're gonna use just a part of it. Now, there's a couple of different ways you can do this. You can take a piece of Post-it note and you can protect off the edge there. So you can take your Post-it note, stick it on there, and then go ahead and ink it. So that's one way. You can also just ink really carefully and then clean with your chamois. So that's what I'm gonna do. Now, if you look at your ink pad, there's one pad and then these 4 edges, right? So what I want you to notice is that there's one edge on the ink pad where the pad is really close to the edge of the case, okay? That is where I like to do my sort of custom inking. Because out here or here or here, the plastic's in the way, you can't really see what you're doing, but here, you can see a little bit better. So I'm gonna turn it this way so I can kind of see, and I'm gonna ink up my greeting, and I'm gonna make sure I get all the way down into the G's, which I think I have. And then if you have your Stampin' Chamois, one of the great things about these is that they're flexible. So you can take the edge of it and you can just check to make sure that you didn't accidentally ink any of the lower words there, okay? So I think we're good. And then I'm gonna take this and stamp here on our strip of crumb cake cardstock. And so there we have our sending healing thoughts, but without those other words there, okay? So a good tip to keep in mind as you're working on, you know, using a greeting maybe that just is a partial and not a full strip. So, all right, so let's bring some paper snips in here. I'm gonna trim this pretty tight here and a little bit further out here. So our stem kind of has a place to attach. And then I want this to not be quite so tall, so I'm gonna go ahead and trim this down this way. Usually I trim with my trimmer because my scissors aren't the best straight cut tool in the world, but they're decent. All right, and then I'm gonna bring this back in here and layer this down like this so that our stem comes across just like that. And then I'm gonna kind of turn this, I think, this way. All right, so now let's go ahead and stick this down. I'm gonna use my multi-purpose liquid glue, which is definitely my go-to for little things like this. Just make sure your glue is where it's going to contact this top layer because you don't want to be gluing You don't want to glue in the open space and have yourself glue your card shut after you just went to all that trouble about putting those dimensionals on the bottom, right? All right, and then this I'm going to go ahead and glue also. So I'm going to take a look here, and only this side of my pieces are going to be glued because I don't want to, again, glue my card shut. All right, you drive people just a little crazy with that. All right, so there we have our front. Now, we're going to be gentle with that for a second because it takes a second for that glue to dry. But I want to add some layers to the inside. And so I have this panel here where I can add something, and then this panel here where I can add something. And I thought that it would be fun to repeat the same shape, but this time with a very vanilla cardstock. So we're bringing that vanilla color back in. So we have one that's going to fit here, and then we have one that's going to go here on the inside of our card. So let's see. We're going to decorate these, and I want to use these larger flowers so that I'm kind of mixing it up. So I'm going to go ahead and ink up our piece here with Early Espresso again, which is a great, nice dark neutral brown. And I'm going to put this sort of down into the side because remember, this is where our greeting and our writing is going to go on our card. And then I want this one to look different, so I'm going to feature a different flower and set of leaves with that. So remember, you might only have one stamp in your set, but you can really extend it by just using different portions of it on different pieces of your project. So that really gives you a lot more choices and a lot of different ways to kind of have matching elements, but that are still different. So, all right, so then I would take these and use my Stampin' Blends coloring again. These Stampin' Blends are gonna get a great workout with this stamp set because they are just so pretty. And once you kind of color the image once, it really goes much faster to go back and color it again because you've already figured out so much about that image and where the color is gonna go and so forth. So anyway, you can see the other video on this, so I'm not gonna show it now. But you would take this and glue it right inside here, okay? And then open this up and glue this one right inside here with coloring there. So let me show you the finished version of this with all the coloring completed. Get my stray ink pad out of the way. And then I would go ahead and just tie this like in a loose bow. A lot of times I like to do a bow with just one loop. So I would wrap around and then have this end hang down. So instead of making a second loop, I'm just gonna kind of have that kind of go down like that, okay? So I'm gonna untie my card and we'll open up and see how this goes with the coloring. So I guess I did the other side here. So there's our first panel and then there's our second panel with all that space for writing. And you can see as you pull through, this ribbon is gonna pull through because you wanna be able to open your card all the way. So that's why we didn't attach that as we started, all right? And you can just tie this loosely to finish off your card, okay? All right, so do you guys wanna see the others? I think that you maybe have seen, hopefully you've seen these projects already, but this is one of the other projects that I shared with the same stamp set. So this is the watercolor, or not the watercolor, but the Stampin' Blends coloring one with these cool strips of paper. And these are the two that are in your card kit. If you order at least $50 this month. And then this one is the photo book that I made with this set. So we used the die cuts, we added these like panels in here so that you have a place to put all of your photos for a fun memory or a really special, like special birthday card or special anniversary card. And then the fourth project this month is this fabulous notebook. And we talked a little bit about layering and how these pieces go together, and then again, coloring and die cutting. So you can see there are a number of ways to use these pieces. You can color and die cut, you can just stamp and use them sort of monochromatic here, or you can color and stamp them in color without die cutting. So lots of good possibilities for different ways to use this. So, all right, I'm glad you guys like this. Okay, well, that is our wonderful Wednesday, a little bit later than usual. Hi, Janet. And I am really glad that you guys were able to jump in later. I think I put a few posts about the different time up. So I appreciate you guys. On Friday morning, again, back to Friday morning at our usual 9:30 Central Time, 9:30 a.m. Central Time. And I will have another project to share with you. So don't forget, celebration ends on September 30th. So if you have celebration things that you wanted to get, do not wait any longer to get them. You have to order them before the online store closes on September 30th. And then October 1st will be a new month. So, all right, guys, I hope you have a super fabulous Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you again on Friday. So happy stamping.